Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 267th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Straight away you'll see that this isn't the usual map we play on. This is a desert map, unusual for us to play on a desert map, and it makes the units exhausted a lot quicker playing in the desert. Okay, the team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Steve Longshanks, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Cal, who's also bought the Rome Scipio faction. And then we have Brotherhood member JGP, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction. And then our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. So there's our team there. Remember, this is that old army that I've bought that I might have made maybe 9-10 years ago. Be interested to see how well it does. Steve Longshanks and Cal and myself have been playing RTW since it first came out, and JGP's been playing some time as well. So it's a pretty good team. Should be a great one for you to watch. And here is the other team. We have RTW player Belisarius. A lot of you will know Belisarius, a very good 31k player, and he's bought the Rome Julia faction. And then we have Chimera Tamahak. Now, I'd just like to draw your attention to the old school formation here. Do you remember what we've talked about in the past? About 9, 10, 11 years ago, we used to play wide formations, but now we've gone into more depth. So it's nice to see, if you like, an old school wide formation there. And as I say, he's bought the Rome Julio faction. Their next teammate is IOW SRAX. A lot of you will know SRAX as well. Very good RTW player. And their last teammate is RTW player Lee. A lot of you will know him, and he's bought the Rome Julio faction. So if you look at the other team there, full of really great players, a lot of experience there as well. This should be a great one for you to watch, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, at this very early stage of the battle here, you can see that I think it's SRAX and Lee are the enemy players facing Cal and Steve Longshanks. Now, I've noticed that when Cal and Steve Longshanks are fighting side by side, they're usually very aggressive, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Now we move into the left centre there. Just pause the game for a second. As you can see here, JGP has also got kind of an old school formation of width rather than too much depth, but he has got a little bit of depth there, so he's kind of got a bit of modern and old formation there. Meanwhile, over on our left flank, can you see that Belisarius looks like he's got a small glitch going on, but luckily the glitch is going backwards, not towards our armies there. And if you notice, I've kept my army back. I haven't lined up with my teammates. I'm just keeping my army back because I don't want any cheap kills. Remember, when an army in front of you glitches, just keep out the way, because otherwise you would get some cheap kills, and that kind of spoils the game a bit, I think, really. So say there's a general overview of the battle at this very, very early stage. As I say, I think that when Steve and Cal play side by side, they're usually very aggressive. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on this right flank. As I say, they're facing, I think it's SRAX and Lee. And both SRAX and Lee can be aggressive as well on the battlefield, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. As you can see here, Steve moving forward. As I say, looking to be aggressive as him and Cal usually are on whichever flank they're fighting side by side on. I think any second now there'll be probably quite a big pilot exchange going on. If you notice, Cal's bringing his cavalry over to this right flank as well. So obviously looking to support Steve there. There's a pilot exchange going on there. As you can see, sometimes you see so many pilots pouring in, it's like it's raining pilots. And of course those pilots causing a lot of damage to each pilot shield unit there on either side. Let's say this is kind of an old-fashioned classic Rome v Rome battle in the desert. So as I say, in desert, troops do get tired a lot easier. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. As you can see here, Steve is looking to attack Lee there. If you notice, Cal's bringing over some more reinforcements, and Cal's got his cavalry on this flank as well. So it looks to me, as I say, that Steve and Cal are both looking to be aggressive there. In the right centre, just units facing each other, and nothing much going on in the right centre. Over in the left centre here, you can see that JGP is aggressively attacking with his SBQ army against, I believe, his Tamahak's Julii army there. But over on the far left flank, as I say, JGP being quite aggressive there. And over on the far left flank, you can see that Belisarius and myself are not even skirmishing yet. I think I was waiting for his glitch to actually clear up before I moved my army. Once again, remember, when army glitches, do not attack. There's a general overview of the battle. As you can see, JGP being very aggressive there with his SBQ army against Tamahak. Remember, if you're aggressive and you attack, then the enemy can only react to you. You kind of make them dance to your tune. In the right centre, not a lot going on there. My guess is that each team mate will start feeding reinforcements out to the flank from that right centre. Right, you see Steve's cavalry there looking like it's charging into the enemy Julii units in front. And of course the Julii general's now going to respond with a counter-attack with his cavalry. But if you notice, Steve only charged in very lightly there and then pulled his cavalry back. And then Cal comes charging in from the flank and catches that Julii cavalry that had charged in as a counter-attack there and caught them in the flank as they were pulling back. Nice little tactical move there by Steve and Cal. As I say, when they play together on the flank, they're very aggressive and they seem to gel very well. They play as really good teammates on that on whichever flank they're playing side by side on. Okay, let's just pause again for a second. As I say, I think this flank here, this right flank, could be pivotal to the battle. I think whoever wins on this right flank could go on to win the battle. As I say, in the right centre here, not a lot going on. As I say, I think they'll feed units out from that right centre area to the flank. If you notice here, Lee's archers are firing arrows into us all the time. I don't think he's using fire arrows, he's using normal arrows there, so he's going to be causing a lot of casualties. Over in our left centre here, as I say, JGP really aggressively attacking the Julii general in front of him here. I think he's basically thrown nearly all his units into that attack. If you notice over on the left flank here, I've done a left flanking action, an aggressive left flanking action here. Maybe with a view, as I say, that this battle was played a few months ago now, so I'm thinking that I probably just wanted to maybe try and draw reinforcements away from the enemy team here and disrupt their battle line there by doing that attack. But as I say, in the left centre here, very aggressive there by JGP, and some good counter-attacking there by Tamahak. So this left centre area here could also maybe be pivotal. If they break that particular area, then they could push their way through and then come into the flanks of our teammates there. So that's also very pivotal there. But as I say, in the right centre, you can see not a lot going on. And as I say, each team is sending units out from that position there to the flank here. Bang! As you see that Julii cavalry hit the Scipii army there. Lots of big infantry and cavalry attacks going on over here on this right flank. As I say, I've got a feeling this right flank could be pivotal. Whoever wins here on the right flank, I think, will go on to roll up the enemy troops there from this right to left there. So I think it'd be extremely important whoever wins here. Let's just pause again for a second. As you can see here, most of the Scipii forces, Cal sent over loads of infantry as well, and there's lots of reinforcements from the enemy Julii team being sent here as well on this right flank. And as you see in the right centre there, just really quiet, hardly any fighting going on there at all. And then over in the left centre here, you can see JGP really aggressive. And if you've noticed, I've sent in my Scipii cavalry to help JGP on this right centre. Meanwhile, over on our left, you can see that I'm now pulling, if you notice, I'm pulling my infantry back over towards JGP. I must be thinking that he might need some help there, so I'm pulling my infantry over. If you notice, I've charged my cavalry in there to attack Belisarius' cavalry. He'd sent his cavalry in there to help his teammate. So both our cavalries there fighting each other. There's a close-up of the cavalry fighting. So both Belisarius and myself have sent cavalry over to this right centre to help our teammates out. So as I say, that could be an interesting part of the battlefield as well. As I say, you can see I'm sending my Scipii infantry that I brought over in the left flank in action back over towards my teammate JGP, as I must have thought at the time that he may have needed some assistance there. But you can see my Scipii cavalry there fighting with the Julii cavalry and infantry there, and JGP is fighting very aggressively as well. As I say, it's a really strange battle because in the right centre there's nothing going on, but over on the right flank there are some massive attacks going on there. Lots of infantry and cavalry hits going in. I think you've got Lee and Esrax here really fighting out against Steve and Cal.
It is time to press the attack.
Okay, over in the left centre here now, can you see that we've routed most of the Julii army we were facing there? We've made, I think that's Tamahak's Julii army. Most of his units have now been routed on this in that left centre area. You can see my army is still on the left flank there, facing considerable number of Julii units facing that old army of mine. Remember, that old army is small but well upgraded. But now we've taken out this this left centre enemy army, that now frees our cavalry up. And what I'm thinking is maybe sending our cavalry over to the right flank there would help help our allies there to take out the enemy on that right flank. I think our allies are doing pretty good anyway, but if we sent over a cavalry that we've now freed up there, then that could maybe be a pivotal part of the battle. Then, if we can do that, because I think that might be just be the straw that breaks the camel's back. If our cavalry we send over there, because I think that would tip the balance in our team's favour. As you can see, there's still massive cavalry attacks going on, infantry attacks going on this right flank. But if you can you see my Scipii cavalry, blue Scipii cavalry, and some of JGP's cavalry are moving over from that left flank and attacking into the Julii units there. Let's just pause the game for a second. If you notice here, can you see a lot of our allies' Scipii units are starting to rout? So we're starting to lose a lot of our units there. So maybe my cavalry and JGP's cavalry arriving there may just be hit the enemy in the rear at the right time. As you can see, a lot of our allies' units are routing there. And meanwhile, over onto the left flank, here you can see that the enemy have still got cavalry there, and I've sent my cavalry over to the right flank. So my infantry now is at a big cavalry disadvantage if the Julii player wants to use that, as I've sent my cavalry over on a gamble that we can finish off the enemy on our right flank, and then they can get reinforcements over to help me. Right, can you see my Scipii cavalry charging in, and bang, as that cavalry charged into the flank and rear of those red Julii enemy troops there. So both JGP and myself have sent our cavalry over, we've charged in there. Now if you notice, a heck of a lot of the enemy Julii units are starting to rout now. So it looks to me like on our right flank, a combination of all our team's attack there has managed to rout the two Julii enemy players that we were up against. So now, what I could see the enemy's going to do, they may well try and break our left flank here. They might say their right flank has been broken, but they may well start aggressively attacking my army now, in an attempt to maybe break my army, and then they would then have the forces that they've done that with to face Steve and Cal. You see a lot of pilots coming into my units, and remember, this is a very small army, as I said, made 10 or 11 years ago, but it has got good upgrades on, so I'm hoping it's going to hold against the aggressive attack that I'm expecting from the enemy team here. As you can see, the enemy Julii general is really pushing in the attack there. If you notice, can you see coming over, I've got some very battle damaged Scipii cavalry that I'm charging into the fray, but if you also notice, there's a lot of Julii cavalry moving over as well. As I say, I think the thinking that the enemy team are thinking here is if they can break my army on the left, they can then form up to face our victorious armies on the right. Let's just pause the game for a second. As you can see, a lot of Julii cavalry charging over here. As you can see, most of my units are engaged with the enemy attacking. I think this is going to test my micromanagement skills, and I've slowed up over the years, so it'd be interesting to see what happens. As you can see, Cal and Steve have seen the dilemma of my army being attacked so aggressively, and they're starting to run their troops over from right to left. But remember, in the desert, troops get tired very, very easy in the hot desert. So by the time they get over there, they could be exhausted. But But as you can see, my small army is really under siege here. Some of JGP's SPQR units there are helping me try to hold. But if you notice, can you see SRAX's cavalry charging straight in? And bang, as that cavalry charges in. Now if you notice, I've moved some of my units around to face different threats as I'm being attacked there. Trying to micromanage my units there a little bit. But as you can see, my army is under siege. Lots of aggressive attacks coming in. As I say, I think the enemy's thinking there is they're going to try and take my army out so that they can then form up and face Steve and Cal's army coming over. So I've just got to hold there. If you notice, I've moved a lot of my units around to face the different threats that are coming in from the different directions of attack. If you notice that Cal's got one of his Scipio units, he just ran him straight over to support the rear of my army there, as Belisarius was moving one of his Julio units round, probably with a view to charging into the rear of my army. If you notice, I just moved my general over facing rear as I've seen that enemy cavalry coming in. So basically, at the moment, as you can see, my army is being besieged by the Julii enemy units there.
The gods be praised! The enemy's hearts are full of fear, and now they flee.
As I said, I faced my general backwards there to cover the my troops that are engaged. If enemy charge in there, hopefully that general unit would be able to defend it right. Can you see that cavalry there? Just going to try and squeeze past my general unit. So I ran my general unit over there. There's Julio Pilas going in as well. They're coming in from behind. But if you notice that Steve's bringing over his Scipii army there. And my guess is that he'll probably try and get in behind the engaged enemy Julii infantry there. I think all of JGP's army, after a ferocious fight, has actually been routed now. But he did extremely well with that aggressive attack that he did right from the very start there. And then he had some units left that he helped to defend my army there against this attack.
The enemy show their true virtue. They are not soldiers.
See, Steve's units are all very tired where they've run over. That's only one step below exhausted. Right, you can see a lot of the enemy Julio units are starting to rout now. And if you notice, I have now started to attack with my units. I've been under the defence all basically through that battle there, and now I've attacked the final Julio units there, and it looks like our team has managed to go on to win the battle. First thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. As you can see, if you look at all the names in this battle, all really good players there. So really well done to Lee, IOWS Frax, Chimera Tamahak and Belisarius. Really well played, guys. Good kills, good moves, really good tactical moves there. And just draw your attention, new players to RTWC. My army, only 1,309 troops, and yet I've managed to get the highest kills in the game. So like we've said in other battle videos, maybe it's not the size of the army that you bring, but it's kind of how you use it to get good kills to help your team win. Really well played to Cal, Steve Longshanks and JGP. Really well played, guys. Excellent teamwork, really good aggressive play. And as I say, really well done to Lee, Esrax, Tamahak and Belisarius. Really nice aggressive play there. And as I say, it was fought in the desert map, and that does affect the morale of troops because they get tired and exhausted. A lot easier fighting in the desert, so it's a bit of a different battlefield there. It's Spartan Commander, so I hope you enjoyed this battle. Look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.